Drivers, start your engines!
Tuning up your work week. It's MRN Motorsports Monday, presented by Outback Steakhouse and brought to you by Hercules Tires and Grunt Style Apparel. Now, please welcome your show hosts. One's a spottin' and one's a grinnin'. Here's Woody Cain and Joey Meier.
MRN Motorsports Monday, presented by Outback Steakhouse, the penultimate show of the season. I love that word. It's only Phoenix is the time we get to use it, but this time we do.
Yeah, we only get to use it like once a year.
Yeah, and this is it. So we might as well take advantage while we can. Recapping what happened at Phoenix ISM Raceway this weekend, the championship 4 fields are set for all 3 National Touring Series. We'll talk about all that today as well and take a look at what's coming at Homestead when we determine a championship in the NASCAR Cup Series, the Xfinity Series, and the Camping World Truck Series. It was a very different ISM Raceway this time, but many folks, most I saw, seemed to be very pleased with what they saw, the renovations, the changes.
For the 28th time in 2018, I get to play with my Joey.
You do, and that seems to make you very happy.
On a video recorded podcast here.
There you go.
Almost, some would call it a TV show.
Kevin Harvick gets another top 10 finish. Go by Outback Steakhouse and tell him I want my free bloomin' onion because he paid that off again, and he's been doing it all season long. It looked early on, as you look at the way things shook out there in the running order, the finish order at the Can-Am 500, that Harvick might be in trouble early. Had a tire issue, but had enough time left to be able to overcome it.
Well, let's back up just a little bit. Kevin Harvick's problem started before he even showed up at Phoenix.
Wednesday.
He had a very tumultuous,
like that one
like
too.
That,
yeah,
right,
that's good.
See, a week after passing the race inspection on the previous race weekend where he won Texas, they put the car in the R&D center, found a pretty gregarious error.
No, I don't know that gregarious is the one.
Well,
gregarious is a happy term.
All
yeah.
right.
All right.
So then he got penalized,
Yeah.
lost a bunch of points, lost a crew chief, lost some money, and was right at the cut line. Was clearly at the top of that list to make the cut, and now he's right at the cut line. So he shows up at Phoenix really with any kind of momentum gone. Boom, pole, gets on the pole. They have really good practice. They're going to start leading that race. They're going to go out and win this son of a gun. Boom.
His best track.
Right front tire. Yeah, he's won there more than anybody.
9 times.
Exactly right. So you got Tony Gibson on the box calling that race with a right front tire issue. They go back a lap down. Now he's out of the playoffs. He's not going. It's amazing. They were able to crawl their way back into the top 10 and get that car back into the playoffs, which the big 3 ended up doing, which we talked about all year long. There was a good chance during that race that at least one of the big 3 weren't going to make the playoffs.
And at various times in the race, it looked like one of them might not make it.
Kurt was in, Harvick was out. Truex was out, Kurt was in. And there was all this. The only person that we knew definitively was in was Joey Logano, who
also had an early
actually
wreck.
had a problem.
Yeah.
So it was an amazing day with trying to keep track of who's in, who's out, who we racing. And for the 2-car, we actually had a really good day. We ran second with an opportunity to lead some laps.
I think if you'd have had a few more laps, you might have been able to get there.
You know, getting there is one thing. Being able to pass Kyle Busch would have been very difficult. The restart there at the last restart where he jumped inside of us and went 3 or 4 wide, which was the craziest thing that ISM Raceway provided with the switching of where the start-finish line was.
Coming off of what used to be turn 2.
All 3 series saw amazing events that way. Brett Moffitt was able to capture the victory off an amazing restart. But at the end of the day, Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch, Martin Truex, and Joey Logano did what they had to do. They've been the best teams all year long, statistics with top 5s and average finishes and wins that they've had to get all year long. And here they are. They're going to go to Homestead for a chance for one. You got Kyle, Kevin, and Martin all racing for their second, and Joey Logano looking for that first championship.
I saw some stuff on social media about people, I wish we were in the old system and it would have not been like this or this.
Yeah.
If you look at the old system, these guys probably would have been the ones who made it anyway. At least the big 3 for sure, and probably Joey Logano with his consistency.
Well, you know, I'm looking at a website right here that has a non-playoff standings after this race. Non-playoff standings.
Who are they?
Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick, Martin Truex, Joey Logano. Round out your top 4.
There you go.
Yeah.
Had we been under the old system, these would have been the guys anyhow. So we're right where we started.
The biggest thing that I talked to Chase Elliott after the race, talked to Ryan Blaney after the race. We were just talking at the airport. The old system was like rust on a car. When you went through a season, you gained a little bit of
Whoops. Hey, easy there. See, let that be a lesson to you.
Gained a little bit of points. That caught me off guard. We gained a little bit of points. You lost a little points, and it was like a cancer or a rust throughout the season. to where you ended up getting to the point in the race or the season that you were mathematically still in it, but you knew you weren't in it.
Right.
And you kind of weaned yourself away from the championship. With this playoff system, the sudden death mentality is so good when you make it or you move on in each round. But the definitiveness of losing the opportunity to go to Homestead is so sudden, it's very drastic. And that's what we want that. We enjoy it. When you make it, you're great. When you're out of it, you're bad. And it really raises and lowers those emotions on both sides.
Very compelling. It makes it
raises,
an interesting
raises
watch.
and lowers.
There you go. That's where you were headed all along.
Exactly. Raises and
Way
lowers.
to put a bow on that. Very nice. All right, let's hear from the guys who are going to be racing for a championship at Homestead in the Cup Series.
Just another day, Bob.
It's not just another day. It was a day where you could have been knocked out of the championship.
You don't do anything different. I would prepare no different next week if I was out as I would if I was in. So that's what I always tell you guys. Win or lose, it's the same prep every week.
You know, it's exciting for us, I think, to be in this position again. This is our third trip to Homestead in 4 years, which I think is something we're all really proud of as a group, and obviously as going to be our last race together as a complete group. It's definitely going to be a special weekend, and we've got a great team. It's been an amazing ride together, and hopefully we can get down there next week and make our owners proud and just show our potential.
Yeah, it certainly feels really good. I mean, it's better if you got a shot to win, to go ahead and win than to not. So obviously just the beginning of the race was not quite as good as we wanted it to be. We kept working on the car all day long, kept making it better. It was super good and strong on those restarts, and we were able to kind of pick some guys off. And overall, just a lot of crazy things happened there at the end and got us in position to where we could capitalize on that. And feels good to go off into next week with a win under our belt and hopefully do it again.
There you go. That was Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch, as well as Martin Truex Jr. You got a brief glimpse of William Byron there, who turned out to be the Rookie of the Year as well. And don't forget, with Kyle Busch's victory, you can get that race-winning die-cast at ISM Raceway in Phoenix, as well as all the race-winning and other die-cast. They're available at planbsales.com. They've had that car quite a few times this season, but that's the one that won out in Phoenix.
Eighth win for
pretty
those
remarkable.
guys.
Yeah.
Eighth win. That's an amazing season. I was reading some stats to how many drivers have won more than 8 with 2 different drivers in a number of years, and this is a very rare year for 2018. So kudos to those guys. Everybody goes to Homestead now. They've been multiple times. Kyle's been multiple. Harvick, you heard Truex mention it, and now Joey goes for I believe the 3rd or 4th time in the last 5 years. So. Again, 3 drivers going for 2 champion for their 2nd, and then the Team Penske driver, Joey Logano, going for their 1st. So it'll be an exciting battle in Homestead.
All right, we've got a whole lot more on this edition of MRN Motorsports Monday, including the Xfinity Series, the Camping World Truck Series, and we'll look more at Homestead for the championship races as we continue.
I'm not blooming good, I'm blooming great. Put a shrimp on the barbie and sizzle my steak. Woo! I want that onion to bloom, and it get in my senses like a sonic boom. No rules, just right. So bold, so nice, and I'm so ready for that Outback steak tonight. Outback Steakhouse, that's what it's all about. Outback Steakhouse. Blooming great!
Are you a serious diecast collector? Do you have a favorite driver? Are you looking for a gift for a race fan? No matter what the question, the answer is always PlanBSales.com. Plan B has all the latest in diecast from Lionel and apparel, artwork, and other items for your favorite driver in NASCAR or other forms of racing. Go to PlanBSales.com, key your driver's name in the handy search window, and look at all the options. Your one stop for diecast and other motorsports collectibles is PlanBSales.com.
Chris Crockett, straight from the NASCAR stands, here with another member of our Toyota racing family, Jason.
Hi there.
Oh, you seem impatient.
Oh, well, I've been holding it in for a while.
A while?
Since it started.
The race?
No, the season.
Wow. Guess you don't want to miss any action.
Nope, I don't.
Oh, did you just see Denny Hamlin take the lead?
I haven't taken my eyes off him.
Jason, you don't look so good. Can I offer you some water?
Absolutely not.
NASCAR and Toyota Racing. With a family like this, who knows the places we'll go in the playoffs? Learn more at ToyotaRacing.com. Toyota, let's go places. NASCAR is a registered trademark of the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing, Inc.
Kyle Busch looking for win number 8 on the season.
If Keselowski has got anything, he's got to show it now. He does chop down the distance, and he gets a little bit loose. Right in the middle of the corner, Kyle Busch leads off turn 2.
Not loose off of turn number 2 did Brad Keselowski. That allows Kyle Busch to break away by 4 car lengths. Keselowski's not done yet. Dives deep into turn 3 for the final time.
Kyle's got it made, though. Coming to the start-finish line, he's going to wrap it up with a win here at ISM Raceway. He's going to Miami.
Kyle Busch gets the victory, punches his ticket to Homestead-Miami, and the bow afterwards for the fans racing for another championship. That was Jeff Striegel, Dan Hubbard, Kyle Rickey, and Joe Moore on the call from Homestead. All right, let's talk a little bit about on-track, off-track, because it doesn't happen all that often. I think we agree on the first one. What do you got for on?
You know, for a long time, Phoenix Raceway has been out in that area providing national events for a lot of NASCAR and IndyCar, kart, truck, Southwest Tour, what you name it. We've renamed the racetrack ISM Raceway. They did a complete model renovation. Same architecture as the Richmond Raceway, and the fans absolutely loved it. Heard nothing but great rave reviews. The people that worked in the garage enjoy it. The people that work around the garage, the employers of the racetrack, getting to and from the stands. Everything about the new ISM Raceway is fantastic from a fan standpoint, and that's
great
what this place,
access for the fans. A lot of places to just hang out.
That's it.
Get around Victory Lane.
Getting close. You know, one of the most coveted tickets in NASCAR is a hot pass, and that allows you in the garage. And most of the time, you can only get hot passes if you know somebody. You and I have friends and family. Hey, I need a hot pass for ISM. Well, now you don't need a hot pass. You can actually purchase one. Before that is a non-purchasable hot pass. Now you can purchase one and physically stand 3 to 4 feet away from your favorite drivers, crew chiefs, cars. You can reach out and touch those guys, take pictures,
They don't like that too much, no. So don't do that.
No, well, the signs say don't pet the animals.
Right, there you go.
So
or
don't feed the animals, yeah. So, but you can do it. Paul Wolf, I saw while I was in the garage, got multiple autographs and pictures while in the middle of his working.
He's a celebrity.
Yeah, well, they all are over there with the crew chiefs and drivers and some of your spotters.
Some of your spotters, that's right.
So the activity and just the event at ISM Raceway was through the roof. The packed house saw a great event, but it was more about being just the way the grandstands encompassed the event. It was really nice the way the grandstands now, when you're driving to the racetrack, it almost has like a baseball stadium look to it, with home plate being back over in turn 4, and then you're coming into it and it just draws you in like a big funnel. And really kudos to those guys for getting it all done. The place it was finished. Just everything about the event this weekend was really, really spot on.
Just a fantastic job. Good Wi-Fi throughout this weekend from everything that folks are saying in the stands as well as in the garage area. Just kudos to them. A fantastic job on that redesign. Julie Giese, the new track president there. Everything was 100% fantastic with that. And it's kind of cool where the seats are now all in that one end of the racetrack. So it's not like you're doing this in the stands anymore. You can kind of sit on that end and look and not really turn that much and see the whole track. It really, good sight lines all around.
It's now become, and again, usually I have 4 bucket list racetracks with Daytona, Talladega, Bristol, and Richmond. And quite honestly, after yesterday's event, or all 3 days events, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, it's now a 5th track to go bucket list racing for the West Coast because of how much fun, entertaining, the viewing area, everything about it is just enjoyable. The weather this weekend, it wasn't the surface of the sun hot.
Yeah,
it wasn't the depths of a refrigerator cold. It was 50s to 70s. It was really nice. It's just a good weekend all around.
All right, let's talk a little bit about off track now because they kind of tie in together.
Well, it's interesting because we live in the NASCAR world in a world of advertisement. We're trying to promote things, and one of the things we did at Phoenix Raceway a couple months back is we renamed it ISM Raceway. Man, that's cool. ISM Raceway. International Speedway Management Motorsports something.
Wrong.
What? No. The most question I got this weekend was, what is ISM? We heard it over and over and over, and I understand we're naming. We've given the naming rights. We've seen the sponsor on the side of Johnny Sauter's truck with ISM Connect. We see the televisions, ISM TV, and so forth. Nobody knows what ISM is, and if that's the case, we're missing the opportunity to promote what ISM is. So you get on the old interwebs and you search what is ISM. It's difficult to find what ISM is.
I think if you search ISM Connect, you'll get a better hit than just ISM.
I have tried ISM Connect. The issue is ISM, really they're not trying to promote what ISM is. ISM is a brand because right here, right this very minute, I'm going to reveal what ISM stands for.
You need a drum roll or anything?
Integrated Screen Management.
There you go.
And what
See?
it is, so it's not really a identity of a brand, it's an identity of a object. And that's one of the reasons. So ISM Connect is allowing the fans more interaction, more interface with the fans.
Using the technology and the screens.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
They're involved with not only NASCAR, but other sports outside. So I think as people get educated, they'll understand that ISM really doesn't stand for anything. It's more of a project or an identity of a process.
I mean, maybe that's the good side is people will ask questions and search and try and find out, but maybe that's exactly what they were hoping for. All right, my off track is a little bit different. I wish I had gotten a picture because I did see one on social media over the weekend. What in the world was with that sweater you were wearing?
You like that, huh?
I saw
You
that
liked
as
it.
like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, does he get like a free bowl of soup with that or something or what?
So Miller Lite had their Christmas in November celebration, and our car had snowflakes on it, and all the team had matching sweaters. It was
so it wasn't just you.
It wasn't just me. No,
Okay.
all the teams had them. We essentially had the ugly sweater thing going on.
Yeah,
with
you
Miller
sure
Lite.
did.
Yeah. And we
That
would
was
have
fantastic.
And we would have won, but all the teams had them for Sunday. We dressed up to match the car with the snowflakes and the ugly sweater kind of car, and that was our theme. This will be our last race this year with Miller Lite, and that's the way we chose to go out with it.
All right. Well, maybe I'll back up a little bit on that since it wasn't just you;
No,
it was the
wasn't
whole
just me.
team.
That's
All right.
it.
Okay, you get a pass on that one. All right. A lot more to come here on MRN Motorsports Monday. We'll take a look at some Xfinity racing and some Camping World Truck Series racing, plus looking ahead at Homestead this week.
Citywide to countryside, whatever you drive, wherever you go. Hercules Tires has the value, selection, and industry-leading warranty to get you there, no matter where the road takes you. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com. Hercules Tires, ride on our strength.
I'm not blooming good, I'm blooming great. Put a shrimp on the barbie and sizzle my steak. Woo, I want that onion to bloom, and it get in my senses like a sonic boom. No rules, just right. So cold, so nice, and I'm so ready for that Outback steak tonight. Outback Steakhouse, that's what it's all about. Outback Steakhouse, blooming great.
Grunt style. The American fighting spirit is in everything we make. We are 500 patriots and veterans strong, bringing clothing manufacturing back to the United States of America. Always moving forward, never retreating, never giving up. We are Grunt style, and this we'll defend. Get yours at gruntstyle.com.
Through the dogleg they come, and entering turn one, Brett Moffitt has the top spot by 2.5 truck lengths over Noah Gregson. Single file formation off of turn two.
Final time onto the back straightaway. Very smooth as Brett Moffitt up off from turn number 2. Eases that truck now down to the bottom of turn number 3. Brett Moffitt, the race leader.
They come off of turn number 4. Checkered flag is in the air, and for the 5th time this season, Brett Moffitt takes the checkered flag and will win the Lucas Oil 150 at ISM Raceway in Phoenix.
Brett Moffitt gets the victory, punches his ticket to Homestead in the Camping World Truck Series. You heard the call on Motor Racing Network there from Dan Hubbard, Steve Post, and Kyle Rickey. A lot was made of the way they moved the start-finish line at Phoenix. We talked about it a moment ago, coming off of what used to be turn 2. Brett Moffitt took advantage of that and finds himself in victory lane.
An amazing restart. You have to stay in line till you get to the start-finish line, but then you fan out with an ability that's really as wide or wider than Pocono, which is one of our widest tracks. We see 3, 4, 5 wide action going down into the new turn 1. Moffitt's able to jump to the bottom, grab the lead, and then maintain for his 5th victory. So an amazing, amazing job by those guys.
Some unexpected names there in the top 10. You look at Harrison Burton, a solid run, Tyler Ankrum, Derek Kraus, Christian Eckes, Sheldon Creed, who just signed a new deal to run next year with
GMS full-time.
Yeah, with GMS Racing. So Matt Crafton finishes outside the top 10. And as we look at our final 4, you get an idea of Brett Moffitt, Noah Gregson, Justin Haley, and Johnny Sauter. Haley and Sauter had already punched their tickets coming in. A solid run by Noah to get him into the final 4. Any surprises there for you?
No, we talked to Johnny Sauter. We knew GMS is going to be good. So you see They got
two trucks in the finals.
Two trucks in the GMC. Obviously, KBM has their strengths all the time with Noah Grayson his last year before he departs.
To Junior Motorsports in the Xfinity Series.
Beginning of the year, I think you wouldn't have put Brett Moffitt in there relative to how they were moving up with the Ryan Truex.
They won a bunch.
They won a bunch this year, but I think in February you weren't expecting him to reel off 5 victories. They're one of the few trucks teams with the OEM motor. NASCAR went to that NT1 motor to try to reel back in some costs, and it's what they call a spec engine, to where everybody has the same engine. You still had the ability to run an OEM. Some teams thought there was a disadvantage, and some teams think it's an advantage.
And it kind of shifted back and forth depending on what rules we were using,
Yep,
right?
exactly right. There was a pretty big rule change with 4 races left after Vegas. They did a dyno change. Some teams were upset. Some teams weren't upset.
Which is where they check to see what the engine performance truly is based on hooking it up to the machines and letting them tell you.
Yep, so then after Texas, the actual Moffitt team who had been running OEM went to an NT1 motor for Texas. At Phoenix, they went back to the OEM motor, which allowed them a little more RPM on restarts and allowed them to shift to get back some of the disadvantage.
Why is that important at a track like Phoenix?
Because you're trying to get off the corner. It's considered a short track style race. You're not in the gas all the time.
Not so much about the momentum.
Exactly right. So at Texas, you're in the gas the whole time. You just get things wound up. It's almost like a restrictor plate race. At Phoenix, because you're allowed to shift, you're allowed to grunt your truck off the corner, and they felt like they were able to gain back some of the disadvantage they felt they had using only the NT1 motor.
All right, let's hear from some of the truck guys who will be racing for a championship coming up this weekend at Homestead-Miami Speedway.
Most importantly, we're going to be racing for a championship next weekend, and I know my crew guys, everybody at Kyle Busch Motorsports on the Safe Light Auto Glass team, they definitely earned it. Safe Light Auto Glass, it's going to be their first time at Homestead next weekend, so really excited.
I mean, obviously, when you win the first race of the year, you got a chance to race for a championship because you're pretty much locked in the playoffs. So, having said that, it's been a great season, and 6 wins has been great. And you almost sit here and say, if you don't get the championship, it's a disappointment. But there's 3 other guys that want to win the championship as well. So we got to go down there and do our best. And I hope we're the guys holding the championship trophy, but you just never know.
Are you the favorite to win the championship next week?
Yeah, I think we've proven all year we are. At Martinsville, I got asked, maybe not the favorite, but we're right there with Johnny. At Martinsville, I got asked if we were a dark horse, and I said, well, we have the second most wins, and now we're only 1 back. So now we're locked into Homestead. I will say the beginning of the chase didn't go as planned for us. We weren't executing the races to 100%, but the last 2 or 3 races, I feel like we've done a great job of that, and it's shown in the results. We have a second, a third, and a win in the last 3 races. So I think we can go to Homestead and execute.
Shiggy Hattori there, the owner of that team. Brett Moffitt and his mustache will race for a championship coming up at Homestead. And it's cool to see what you would describe as an unaffiliated team. However, they are getting Toyota support, as you mentioned, with the motors.
Yeah, no, it's the OEM, Mark Conquest over there, Joe Gibbs Racing is building those engines for those guys and have had strong support. They actually went out of their way to provide the support even when they ran the NT1 motor, allowing the swap over and helping those guys. So very strong. Moffitt's doing very well. I'm going to, tip of the cap right now, I think we're going to have Johnny Sauter as another champion after Homestead. I still think his experience, the speed they've shown at GMS, the younger kids there, I would see Johnny Sauter right now as my pick for the Truck Series.
All right. Now, what may be the differences between running the OEM or built motor at a Homestead versus Phoenix?
Yeah, it's a matter of on-throttle time. The on-throttle time is much higher. In other words, you use very little brake at Homestead because the track is so wide and sweeping. You're the high lane. You're in the gas a whole lot more, and the NT1 simply has more power at the top RPM range. The NT1 offers a little more advantage on restarts, a little more grunt, allows you to shift at a higher RPM. But once you're in high gear and you're on the gas, it's down a little bit on horsepower.
So you don't think the restarts will be as big of a factor for the built motor at Homestead as it was at Phoenix?
Well, I think the disadvantage for the restarts, you'll gain more back on the NT1 motor. So you're going to give up a little bit on restarts, but then you figure you're running so many laps wide open throttle that you'll get it back.
All right. The Camping World Truck Series Championship, the Ford EcoBoost 200 Started comes your way at 7:30 on Friday right here on the Motor Racing Network to crown a champion. You saw the 4 guys there. Johnny Sauter, Justin Haley, Brett Moffitt, and Noah Gregson will be contending for the title there. Another timeout on Motorsports Monday. When we come back, we'll shift focus to the Xfinity Series as they get ready to run for a championship this weekend as well.
I'm not blooming good, I'm blooming great. Put a shrimp on the barbie and sizzle my steak. Woo, I want that onion to bloom, and it get in my senses like a sonic boom. No rules, just right. So bold, so nice, and I'm so ready for that Outback steak tonight. Outback Steakhouse, that's what it's all about. Outback Steakhouse. Blooming great.
Things happen fast in racing, and if you don't know where to look, you can miss it all. With Legend from Racing Electronics, you'll never miss another moment. Legend gives you live fan vision video, in-car cameras, and stats at NASCAR and other Premier Series events. And the next generation race scanner for unfiltered driver and crew audio at any motorsports event nationwide. NASCAR fans have never been closer to the action. Welcome to the future of the fan experience. Learn more by visiting racingelectronics.com.
Chris Crockett, straight from the NASCAR stands, here with another member of our Toyota racing family, Jason.
Hi there.
Oh, you seem impatient.
Oh, well, I've been holding it in for a while.
A while?
Since it started.
The race?
No, the season.
Wow. Guess you don't want to miss any action.
Nope, I don't.
Oh, did you just see Denny Hamlin take the lead?
I haven't taken my eyes off him.
Jason, you don't look so good. Can I offer you some water?
Absolutely not.
NASCAR and Toyota Racing. With a family like this, who knows the places we'll go in the playoffs? Learn more at toyotaracing.com. Toyota, let's go places. NASCAR is a registered trademark of the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing, Inc.
From the back to the front here at ISM Raceway in Phoenix, Christopher Bell looking to punch his ticket to Homestead next week and a shot at the championship. He leads off turn 2 for the final time.
There's Christopher Bell by himself on the back straightaway. He's got a couple of lap cars well in front of him. Christopher Bell in turn 3 for the last time. He started 38th. He will finish first in a must-win situation here this afternoon at Phoenix. Christopher Bell wins at ISM Raceway.
Kyle Rickey, Alex Hayden, and Dan Hubbard on the call from ISM Raceway as Christopher Bell, facing a must-win situation, pays it off. He's been stout all season long, had the trouble the week before and got knocked out in a crash, and then comes back to get the big victory to close it out.
Yeah, him and Justin Allgaier had the most wins. My boy Elliott Sadler failed at the last minute in his attempt in his last year at Junior Motorsports. I had picked him to win the championship. Christopher Bell had a dominating year. Just like he said, it was either wreckers or checkers for him. And the week before was wreckers. This week was checkers. He's going to the championship hunt. The advantage simply has to go to Cole Custer, who dominated Homestead last year with that 13-second lead. It was amazing.
A kill job.
Exactly
he
right.
hammered him.
But I still believe you're going to have to put the speed. You're going to have to race against the speed of Christopher Bell. The consistency of Daniel Hemrick. Tyler Reddick, again, wreckers or checkers kind of mentality over there.
Kind of an up and down season, yeah.
Junior Motorsports, so it should be a really content. If I'm looking at that list right now, I'm going to have to go at Christopher Bell out of Joe Gibbs Racing. Simply the speed over there is going to be hard to beat at Homestead Raceway.
I think the only one that may surprise me a little bit there is I might have expected a Justin Allgaier maybe with the victories he had this season to edge out one of those guys, but it didn't happen.
Well, you know, I have written down here, mistakes were the theme of the playoffs. You know, we looked at the mistakes on the Cup side with Kurt and Chase Elliott speeding. We looked at the mistakes with Justin Allgaier, not necessarily his mistakes, but he got involved with mistakes of others with Rex. And it was really just too insurmountable to overcome those mistakes.
Wrong place, wrong time.
Wrong place at right time.
Yeah, well, depending on how you look
exactly.
at it. Yeah.
So what you have is you just had the hill was too high to climb. And at the end of Phoenix, at the end of ISM Raceway, you had too many drivers and a must-win. They all couldn't win.
Yeah.
And Christopher Bell, who had a problem in inspection, had to go to the rear, lost his car chief, still came to the field and was able to win that race. And I think that's the speed that those other three drivers are going to have to contend with that
Just
at Homestead-Miami.
Stupid fast car he had.
Yep.
All right, let's hear from the guys who are going to race for a championship coming up at Homestead-Miami in the Xfinity Series.
For me, you know, you just hope you're going to find yourself in position to have another shot at like we did last year. Now I can confidently, obviously, say that we do have that shot, and that all leads to the thought of if we can get the Homestead, we feel like we got a good shot of anybody. And having that taste in our mouth, have that taken away from us last year the way it was, makes us that much more hungry when we go there next week.
Christopher Bell, you know, we got to go test there over the summer.
So I have an idea of, what me and Christopher had at the test. Homestead's a place where you can run the top, and that's something that I've had success at before in the past. We know how good Cole was last year there. He made us all look really bad. He smoked everybody in that race, and even with Daniel's misfortune, I think they had a lot of speed in that race, if I recall. So it's not going to be a walk in the park. The other 3 guys that we'll be competing against are very good teams, and obviously they've earned the right to be there at Homestead. So it's going to be a fight. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, we know everybody in this top 4 is going to be fast when we get there. So you got to do your homework before you get there, and we have a really good baseline to go off of. But
you think?
Yeah, maybe.
But,
a 25 or 13 seconds over second.
But we're going to have to find a way to make it as good or better because things are going to change a little bit.
I don't know if you can take any momentum there. The 00 has, they're licking their chops, right? They won by 15 or something seconds last year, so I'm sure they're feeling good going into it. But we saw with the Cup deal, Jimmy Johnson won his championship because a couple guys beat themselves and took each other out, and he was just at the right spot at the right time, and he was definitely not the best out of the 4. So that's what we're gonna have to do next week is just. If we are the best car, try not to beat yourself. And if we're not the best car, just wait for the opportunity for that last pit stop. And you never know when the last restart's gonna come.
Christopher Bell wins the race, and it's a compelling championship 4 in the Xfinity Series, I think, as we heard the guys talking about Cole Custer dominant there last year, and they've gotten quietly better and better and better as the year's gone on. Daniel Hemrick has been right there all season, but hasn't been able to pay it off with that big win. Christopher Bell, as we mentioned, been very fast at most every place. The key thing there, the kind of the wild card guy, I guess, is Tyler Reddick.
Tyler Reddick, Christopher Bell, and Cole Custer are rim riders all the way up top. And that'll be interesting to see how much speed, because if you're riding the rim, it's very difficult to pass another car that's riding the rim. The wild card, in my opinion, is the Daniel Hemrick of the crowd, because he's not a rim rider. His car is going to be a little more maneuverable and work around that side of the track. And what a fantastic opportunity for all 3 series to go to Homestead-Miami in a track that you can race bottom to top all day long. Big sun changes, big temperature changes, keeps their crew chiefs going, maneuvering, getting these cars manipulated to transfer with the temperatures, right? Getting them modified and adjusted to make it. And now the drivers are allowed to run, again, bottom to top, make their car go fast wherever it can go fast. And Homestead-Miami Speedway puts on a great show for all 3 series. But rim riding will be a key factor in all 3 of these series.
As we mentioned, the Xfinity Series Championship is Saturday. The Ford EcoBoost 300 comes your way at 3 o'clock Eastern Time on Saturday afternoon. The Cup race will come your way, the Ford EcoBoost 400, 1:30 Eastern Time on Sunday. But quickly before we go, if people want to rim ride at Homestead-Miami Speedway, but it's got the progressive banking, so you can search for a line. Why do so many of the guys wind up against the fence?
Because what you end up doing when we talk about rim riding is you're on the gas a lot longer. If you're on the gas a lot longer, it simply means you're going to go faster than the guy that's not. The problem is you got to have enough guts, enough glory to ride that rim without damaging your car. It's a risk reward for all 3 series, because if you get in the wall, the risk is high. But if you don't get in the wall, the reward is very high as well.
All right, we'll keep it all in mind as we get set for action this weekend at Homestead-Miami Speedway. Truck race Friday night at 7:30, Xfinity race Saturday afternoon at 3, Cup race Sunday at 1:30 Eastern Time. I'm Woody Cain. He's Joey Meier. We'll see you right back here next Monday for the final edition of the season of MRN Motorsports Monday.